who is our specialist. We'll be discussing raw dog food.
It's science and research based.
Okay, I definitely have some. I have some questions. All right. So earlier you say that there's. I understood when you said there's two types of bones. And correct me if I'm saying it wrong. So there's the raw type, just all natural and everything, and then there's the other kind that's boiled or cooked. I'm still trying to understand, like, if I wanted to give my dog a bone, right, the correct bone, and then have the grocery store or anything, I'm trying to understand, like, what is it that I can actually do to do it correct. So let's say I wake up tomorrow, I decide, you know what, I'm gonna give my dog a bone. So that means what? I can go to the grocery store, and if I was to buy a piece of meat, I just buy a piece of meat with bone in, and that's all it is. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. So you want to feed your dog human grade. So you can either go to the supermarket, or you can go to the butchers. Or if you have like a farmer around as well, you might know. So that's where ideally you should get your bones from. So you want them to be raw, not cooked like I was saying before. And there's two types of raw bones. So you have recreational bones, and then you have raw meaty bones. So raw meaty bones are the ones that you want your dog to be able to eat, chew, and to ingest. So them ones are okay, and then ones are safe for your dog to eat. But with recreational bones, so that's another type of bone. So these ones are big and they're full of like bone marrow. So that's like your like a beef femur. It's like your really heavy type weight bearing bones. So that one you can feed to your dog. But it's more for them to chew on, and it helps to stimulate enzymes in the mouth, and that's what helps to clean the teeth as well. So, and then you also have like the abrasive effect of the recreational bone getting all in there. So you should ideally only give it to your dog to chew on for around 10-15 minutes at a time, and then you can take away, because if you are feeding it for a long period of time, your dog might get a bit carried away, and then yes, it can be harmful, because then your dog might be actually like chewing it too much, and then they can hurt their teeth essentially. So you just have to give it a time limit.
And this type of bone, can any dog of any breed or size do this or have these bones?
Yeah, so you really have to you have to find the right bones for the right size dog. So if you are feeding like a raw meaty bone, so depending on what size, so let's just say like pig trotter, that's a raw bone that you can feed to a dog, but you would only want to feed this to a large breed or a giant breed dog. So you wouldn't really want to give it to a small breed or a medium breed. So there's different bones for different types of dogs. So if you had a small dog, and that can be a pug, a chihuahua, they can feed off chicken wings. So chicken wings can be what really helps them. Or then you can go with the recreational bones. Large breed dogs can have the big like a femur to chew on, and because that would be the more correct size, because the bigger of it. And then you could give a kangaroo tail to like a smaller dog, or probably a medium-sized dog. So that you just really have to figure out the correct.
I hear kangaroo. Kangaroo, is that what I heard?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot you're in the US.
No worries. I do have more another question in regards to dental, but before I say that, I just want to take the time to say to our viewers, and I feel like some of them might be like me right now, thinking like, oh man, this is a lot of information in regards of like a bone, of bones to give to dog, because just like myself, I remember I've growing up heard the same myth. So for you guys out there, I just want to tell you and let you know, like, yeah, this is going to be a little confusing, but this is also why Emmah's here. Now, you can state your questions in the comments that you have about this, and Emmah will have the opportunity to come back and elaborate a little more. But more so that at a later date, later time, Emmah will actually be able to assist you directly. So I just want to put it out there. I know this is a lot of information, but there will be a list that is created later on that will allow you to sign up and actually have the opportunity to work with Emmah directly and get a lot more information in regards to stuff, because I'm here and I'm working with them, and this is a lot of information. But let's get back to it. I just felt like I really need to say that to everyone out there. But let me get back to the teeth. In regards to, like, obviously we use the bones and the stuff that's been marketed in regards to plaque, right? So what in the diet is creating like the plaque, or is it just like dogs don't brush their teeth, right? I brush my teeth and mouthwash, whatever it is my dentist tells me to do to help reduce plaque and everything. What is it that creates the plaque? And if correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding what you're saying about the bone, this helps keep a healthy dog teeth, which then thus reduces plaque or gets rid of plaque to wherever the grade may be. But what is the cause of creating plaque on a dog? If you can answer that, please.
Yeah, I can answer that. So with the diets that most dogs are on these days, the commercial diets, so they have a lot of sticky sugars and that stick to their teeth, and it's artificial, and you've got a lot of end preservatives. So they stick to your teeth, and dental, clean their teeth and stuff like that. But
hold on, Emmah. I think we may have had a problem, and I think you may have froze. I'm not sure. You're not frozen anymore. I mean, as great as these technologies are, I mean, I am in the United States, and Emmah's joined all the way from Australia. I would just ask if you can just go back about 15 seconds and just start over again and answer the question, if that's okay, please.
Yeah, so I think I was just saying that with the commercial diets that most pets are on, so they have sticky sugars in their food and artificial preservatives and that. So this is what sticks to their teeth. So when dogs are eating these, they don't contain the enzymes and to help remove that bacteria in your mouth. So in your dog's mouth. So it doesn't contain that. So and then it's just sticking on your teeth, sticking on your pet's teeth.
Okay, so from my understanding, what I'm hearing is the commercial diets, which again, correct me if I'm wrong. When you're saying commercial diets, they're essentially talking about the kibble that a lot of these here in the U.S. that we primarily use to feed our dogs. Create these issues within the teeth of plaque. And then, surprisingly enough, they also advertise us what we should use to help with the dogs in regards to their plaque issues. And it sounds like that we're really in a cycle that is created that is not really beneficial to our dogs in regards of health benefits. And you said earlier about having our dogs the ability to basically maximize and really live the healthiest as possible. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that correct?
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the question again?
I know I have a problem where I have so much going in my head because I'm so fascinated by all of this. What I was saying is, what I'm hearing is, it feels like that there's this vicious cycle with it comes to commercial food in regards to, also known as kibble for the rest of us, where our dogs are going to affect the kibble base. The issue that's created, and we're only, even right now, we're only focusing on the dental, was created by the diet, which then they also provide the solution for that, which is the dental benefits treats or whatever that they have, which is also a synthetic type base that's not all natural, which creates its own problems, which then turns into a health issue. I guess what I'm doing is recapping what you stated, and all I can think to myself is, as a pet owner, when it comes to the health of our dogs, a lot of us go out there and visit the vets, and it sounds like a lot of our issues seems to really come from the the commercial diets that we provide to our dogs, and it's not necessarily the most beneficial for our dogs. Is that correct assumption?
Yes, it is. So with the commercial diets, they're basically, it's just like tin food or like cereal that you have. So it's like, even if you look at cereal, they market that, they do have all these minerals and they do have like nutrients that help you. But when you're eating them day in and day out, it's not healthy for you. And imagine eating the same food every single day as well. Like it would just be like, yuck, who wants to do that? And it's the same how dogs would feel too. Like you're just eating these same foods and they're not beneficial. They don't have the amount of quality that you would if you're eating fresh food. In the other video, the last video that we just did, we were talking about how it came about in the 1960s, around when the war was happening and the Great Depression. And then they've come out with all the tin foods and to make foods last longer. But it took them about 30 years for them to realize in the human world, for the human food, is that like these foods weren't good for your pet. And we, in the pet industry, we're behind on that. So they ended up 30 years it took them to realize that it was fresh, whole, natural food that you should be putting in your body besides these canned packaged foods. It's healthier for humans to eat and it's healthier for pets to eat whole, fresh food.
Huh. Well, that makes perfect sense and very logical. For myself, being in the industry, I mean, obviously, I haven't seen this, but to be honest, but we both know I'm in the pet industry in regards to treats. And I will say that we do all natural and we keep it at a human grade level, but it is a treat at the end of the day. It's not, we try to do our best to let individuals know that it's not to supplement their diet in any way whatsoever, just like human beings. But I will say this, in our journey to be able to provide what we provide to our consumers, what we have learned along the way is the regulations. There are some out there, but it's nowhere near in comparison, obviously, to human consumption. And just as you just stated, it just helps me think about our process to how we got our products out there to everyone around in the United States, and how the regulations to go through it were very, very minimal. Like we hold ourselves to very, very high standards because we love dogs and everything like that. And but when it comes to the human standards, just as you stated, it took them some time. And I'm sure, and this is a guess, I have no idea. I'm sure there's some people out there like, hey, this is not good for us. We have evidence to support this. You need to start actually having some regulations to these companies who are providing us these foods. And then thus the shift started taking place and we started becoming more informed. So with that being said, I know one of the common issues that we have, anybody has at one point or another, it has to do with like dog skins and fur, hair, stuff of that nature. And I know before we started, I will admit, I made the assumption thinking skin and coat was essentially the same thing. I was like, yeah, it's the same thing. I don't understand. And Emmah was kind enough to explain to me. And there is a difference. Because it's pretty obvious. I mean, we have skin on top of our heads, right? And we have hair. So with that being said, can you please explain to us the ways of how we can have healthy hair and skin fur coats, because this is very this is very relevant to me because we had a family member just recently, like I said before, early on, how they went and bought the commercial products that stated, which is a form of kibble that stated that, oh, this is supposed to help with skin and coat. So can you help us understand from a natural, in regards to raw food, how to actually help our dog who has either issues with their skin or coat, or how it is to prevent any issues and maintain a healthy skin and coat?
So with a raw diet, you're able to customize a diet for your dog's specific needs. So if they have skin and coat issues, you can feed certain nutrients, certain foods to your dog to help in that aspect. So there's about, I think it's around 15% of dogs who actually have skin conditions, and and a lot of pets can end up having this when they're older due to their diet when they were younger. So there's pretty much the 4 main nutrients that really influence these skin conditions and to make it better. So that's essential fatty acids, vitamin A, biotin, which is vitamin B7, and then you also have zinc. So zinc's a mineral. So they really influence, and they are essential for a healthy skin and coat. So with your dogs on a raw diet, you're able to give them those nutrients for that, and that can really help. In a commercial diet, a lot of commercial diets actually lack those 4 things. So a lot of diets, they will put essential fatty acids, but because they're in a bag, they end up oxidizing pretty quickly and then become rancid. Whereas fresh food, it doesn't.
Yeah, well, when you say it like that, it makes a lot of sense. And again, it brings me back to thinking, like I said before, where the family member that has experienced their dog that had issues with their skin and I believe also coat, and then they just changed from one kibble diet to go to different kibble diet that advertised the benefits. So hearing what you're saying about having a proper diet through raw foods, but also the fact that you're able to change it up, because just like us humans, we don't like having the same thing. And it's crazy. I always thought that when I was younger, like, how is it that these dogs just eat the same thing every day? I mean, this is my own ignorance. But and hearing this, it makes perfect sense. If you're able to switch up the food and you're providing natural foods, you're also able to adjust the diet to provide them what they need to help them with the coats and their skin if they have any skin issues. So I'm gonna go back to a question, a statement you said earlier to do with diseases. So obviously, at least in the United States, one of the biggest diseases that we have out here is an issue, is like in regards to cancer. So I do remember in the first video, that's one of the topics that you stated about the benefits of raw food. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the association of the benefits of raw foods and connections or correlations to cancer?
Well, it's basically because you have an enhanced immune system. So not all cancer is related to diet, but a lot of cancers can be related to diet. So it's because of what you're putting into your body. It can make like a lot of sugars. So sugar is it's linked to cancer. It's what can make them like start getting bigger and inflame those. So with that, diets can influence that, but sometimes it's just hereditary, and it just happens. But feeding fresh whole foods, you have the antioxidants that help fight free radicals, and they help they help the immune system be healthy. So if you have a healthy immune system, you're going to have less incidence of cancer and other diseases.
Okay, so I mean, so it makes me think of let's use lung cancer as an example, and smoking. Obviously, if you smoke cigarettes, it creates, or some form of tobacco, it creates a high probability of you having lung cancer. So in that scenario, we all have some form of cells within us, and and I know some of you out there might correct me in the bottom. I am not a biologist or anything like that. I'm just going from memory, as accurate as I can be. But that we all have some forms in there that can of cells that can turn into cancerous cells. But it does take some type of act, I guess, for lack of a better term, to initiate that cycle. Like, for example, cigarettes. So what I'm hearing is, with a proper food diet, it reduces the odds of actually initiating those cancer cells within the dogs, because they have the proper food it reduces the chance. You have the proper naturally science-based, evidence-based type of food, it reduces the chance of cancer. Because I've noticed a lot of dogs, unfortunately, through our work with rescues, when they talk about their dogs having cancer. And it's sad to me to hear that really some of the most impactful ways to help reduce the chance of that is simply a diet change to all natural diets in regards to raw dog food. So one of the other major things here in the United States that's a problem too is like diabetes. I personally have never had to have experience with a dog with diabetes, but is there anything in regards to the diet, kibble diet, that can influence or increase the chances for diabetes in a dog?
Yeah, well, so if your dog has diabetes, it can be hard to treat. And then with like if you're on a commercial, so they have really got high starch, so it's full of sugar and they're cooked as well. But so if you are on a fresh food diet, you can actually it can actually treat it really well and can prevent and can sometimes actually reverse type 2 diabetes. So that has actually been seen. So you can really control it a lot better. And then there's two types of diabetes, so type 1 and type 2. So sometimes it's a bit harder to recognize if a dog has type 1 or type 2 diabetes. So with us humans, we can figure out what sort of difference. But yeah, with dogs, it is it's a bit difficult, but yeah, it's still, yeah, they're pretty much, you can't really tell much of the difference. But the difference between type 1 and type 2 is that type 1 is when the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin, and then type 2 is when the body can't respond normally to the amount of insulin made by the pancreas.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, again, it seems like having a raw dog food diet is very beneficial to reducing or actually preventing any possible issues in regards to diabetes. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can control it a lot better. So there's been people that have seen very like their diabetes have been reversed and that it's no longer there. Wow. So it can help that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So another thing that we all deal with dogs is very in regards, or at least I shouldn't say everyone else, I should say we do. With our little guy, our little Toast, is in regards to his anal glands. So he's a little, so is there any benefits in regards to helping that at all in regards to the issues in relation to anal glands?
Yeah, so with the anal glands, raw diets can really help it. So you might see your dog, some people might think that it's worms because they are scooting along the ground, and some people might think that it's worms, but it actually, that's one of the signs of having anal gland issues. So anal glands, like it's like a liquid in your butt that it's like a foul fishy sort of smell that your dog might have. So it's because they don't have anything abrasive going within going out of their rectum. So so when you're feeding raw bones, so when it's digested, it actually is able to pass through there and able to express them on their way up.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about poopies. I don't know why. In relation to the but okay, so again, it sounds like the raw diet is something that is very beneficial helping to have a healthy anal glands. Is that correct?
Yeah, it helps your whole digestive system. So it's able to help clean, your whole digestive system.
Okay. So I'm curious, what other health benefits out there, or just in general, that you can share with us that it's beneficial for dogs, with like some common.
So a lot of ear infections are pretty common as well. So ear infections have a lot to do with the microbiome and how healthy your immune system is. So if your pet's immune system and microbiome has an overload of bacteria and yeast, so yeast can have your dog can end up getting like a yeast infection, and it's to do with the microbiome and how healthy it is. So around 98% of ear infections are to do with your immune system, and having a healthier immune system will help with the ear infections.
When excuse my ignorance, you say a microbiome. Am I saying that correct? What is, you might have stated it and I apologize. What is that again?
So it's just in your gut. So it's a gut lining. So that's where all your healthy bacteria is, and it's basically where it's just your gut.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Just want to make sure. Okay, I understand now. So what other issues that can you share with us that is beneficial to dogs being on raw dog diet that we can dive into right now and you can share with us?
Well, as before, I was saying that it's really customizable. Like you can feed different sort of foods that are going to make that are going to benefit your dog. So if your pet has diseases, if your pet has heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, like the raw diets can actually really help them, and even arthritis too. So if your dog has arthritis, it can.
Can we take a dive into the health issues around kidney? Because I know kidneys and I want to say sometimes liver is a issue with certain breeds of dogs, at least if my memory serves correctly. Can we dive into that? Can you share with us with some information in relation to that?
So what is it? Sorry, were you saying a different, like it's breed specific? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not necessarily breed specific. I'm just saying in general to do with kidney issues and liver diseases. Is kibble diets in any way, form create those issues in comparison to like raw dog diet?
So commercial diets can be higher in some minerals that will actually damage kidneys. So for example, if your diet might contain high phosphorus, and it might contain high calcium, and then also high potassium. So these are very common in commercial diets. So there is about 5 to 9 times the amount of phosphorus in commercial diets that your pet actually needs, and then there's around up to 11 times more calcium than what your pet actually needs as well. So having those in your system and accumulating over time, so as we're talking about feeding day in and day out, your dog is accumulating all those minerals over and over again, and this puts a lot of pressure on the kidneys to get them, and then it ends up having you end up damaging kidneys, so that can link to kidney disease, and then you can end up having calcium deposits on the kidneys as well.
Wow. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard a lot of information today from our specialist here, or our dog diet specialist, and I have to tell you, I'm just astonished by the information I just learned today. Emmah here will be taking individuals in the little future, and there'll be a waiting list that we'll provide to you guys at a later date and time. So you can actually have a one-on-one type of session, and more information will come out at a later point. But all I want to say is wow, my mind is blown. And I just hear all these awesome things about how a raw diet can be extremely beneficial to the gentlemen. Because I kind of know what's coming up, what's next. Emmah's going to cover some information in regards to the digestive system. And we heard earlier today in this video how Emmah has covered various areas in regards to how important the digestive system is. So stay tuned to the next video where we take a dive into that and we get to gain a lot of knowledge. Now, if you like what you heard today, and it's been helpful, please go ahead, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notification and get some great more information from our specialist here, Emmah. And so until next time,